Okay, so here's going to be a little video of our garden so far, so you can see what we've been doing. I'll go through all the different stations that we have. Altogether, I think we counted 120 individual containers, because we do all container gardening here in Texas, because the ground is all red clay, too hard, can't grow in anything, so we're doing containers. So let's start off and I'll show you what we have so far. So on this end here we have cucumbers, and they're in these container bags. Basically the container bags are better than the plastic buckets or ceramic containers because, one, the bags breathe, so it gets a lot of oxygen in the plant. Also, it doesn't become root bound. If you've ever grown anything, roots become root bound. What happens here is that the roots will hit the side of the bag. They'll attempt to go through the bag, but then the air hits the roots, and the roots then die back, and so it's what they call air pruning. So this promotes more roots in addition to having more oxygen, and grows better in the bags. So here are two cucumber plant set we have. They're just kind of regular pickling cucumbers, the small ones. Those tend to grow pretty good. And then in front of that here we have some pepper plants. These are the sweet banana pepper plants. One of the things you'll notice too, because with all these different bags that we have, last year we hand watered and that took way too long and too much. Plus it gets so hot here that by the time you water in the morning, these containers, the ground will dry out and you have to water again. So we set up an irrigation system, and as you can see here, I'll get closer, we have the little emitters which let out about a gallon's worth of water an hour. So what we do is a couple times a day, the sprinklers turn on, give a little shot of water, keep it moist, then turn off. That's probably the best way here in Texas to do it. Now what I'm doing here, as you can see, there's little side shoots that come off the peppers. So you don't want to just have side shoots. You want all the energy to come up through the plant. So when I see these side shoots like this on peppers and tomatoes, I basically just pull them off. I want the energy in these young plants to go more up and straight, and I don't really want them side shooting yet. So a lot of times I'll just pinch off the little side shoots, and that helps the plant grow up higher. Also, some of these are starting to develop small little peppers, and with such a little plant you don't want it to grow necessarily peppers yet. The plant's really not big enough to support it. You want it to grow, so a lot of times I'll pull that back. So this part here is in what I call my tomato row, and so as you see here, we've gotten all sorts of tomatoes. These were put in about the middle of March. We put them in when they were a little bit smaller, and as you can see, they're really starting to grow. They got a big thick stalk, and so we had some rain yesterday too, so I didn't have to water. So there's lots of nutrients and water coming in. Now what you'll notice here, I'll back off a little bit, is that I have these trellises. I hate those tomato cages, and they're so difficult and cumbersome, and what I basically have done is made these trellis systems, and I basically trellis everything up on these. These trellises are real cheap to make because if you'll notice, I'll come in kind of close here, they are made with 1/2 inch electrical conduit. So you can go to Home Depot and buy a pack of 10 of these 10-foot length pieces, and then what you do is you basically cut them down to 7-inch or 7 feet lengths and a 5 feet across, if you'll notice there. I also then just buy off of Amazon this nylon vegetable trellis netting, and then zip tie them at each point there. So basically for like about $5 you can build a trellis that can withstand basically a hurricane wind. One of the things that I'll show you here that keeps these up is, if I lift that up, you'll notice down there it's a rebar. It's 1/2 inch rebar that's 4 foot long. You basically put 2 feet of it in the ground, leave 2 feet up, and then set this over the top. And like I say, if you look at the prices of trellises, you can buy some cheap old wooden trellis that won't do anything and is not very big for 30 bucks at Home Depot, and you got nothing. It'll rot within a year if it's the wooden one. These last a lifetime. And you can leave them out all year long. Basically, all you have to do is maybe replace a zip tie, or if one of the things break off, just tie it back in, or you know, just repair it. So it's really, really easy. But anyways, here's the tomatoes, and these are all sorts of tomatoes here. We got heirloom and the black Krim and cherry tomatoes. Basically, the smaller tomato grows good in Texas. You would think in Texas, where we have at least 2 growing seasons and even a winter growing season, that we could grow tomatoes here. But it's difficult because of the high heat. Tomatoes need a cool evening, and we don't have that in the summer. So really, if we don't put tomatoes out by March, then it's too late, because we have to harvest and pick these tomatoes probably by May. Or at the end of May. Then June, July, you need to do a second planting, but it's too hot. Anything over 90 degrees, these tomatoes go dormant and they stop producing. And we just can't grow tomatoes well in Texas. Definitely not the beefsteak or the large tomatoes that you can grow up north. You might have a shorter growing season up north, but you can grow the bigger tomatoes, where we need the smaller tomatoes. Now, one of the things that I do here as well is, you can see that the flowers, this is a cherry variety, the flowers are starting to come in here, which is great. But one of the things that you do with the tomatoes is, if you notice here, it will grow a set of flowers, and then right here it grows this little shoot, this side shoot. So just like the pepper, what you usually do is, this won't produce any more tomatoes, it just produces more foliage. So it's got the flower coming up the side. So what you have to do is just pinch this off, and you could then root this in a glass of water, and it will do more shoots. And you basically can propagate your tomatoes for the whole season. You don't have to buy any more tomatoes. Just take these side shoots. Here's another side shoot that's really big here. So you could pinch that off and grow another tomato. So again, the other thing is, you can prune these lower leaves. If you see some of the videos, people basically cut off a lot of the extraneous leaves, just grow a single shoot all the way up with tomatoes, and you can space them closer together and get a bigger harvest. That's how it works in theory anyways. So here is the tomatoes, and then here at the end of this row, I have some cantaloupe. So what the idea here is, we have the cantaloupe, and then as it starts to go outside with the vines, we'll just trellis that all the way down in the mulch area, and hopefully get some cantaloupe that just takes up this space. The other thing here, we have some marigolds, because not only do they look pretty, but they supposedly keep the bugs away. Who knows? Also, this plant here is the mosquito flower. It's a citronella. It hopefully keeps mosquitoes away. So we'll see if it works on that too. But anyways, this is the first section that is just the tomatoes, cucumbers, and our trellis here. And we'll see how all this grows here.